Good morning. This will be my last steaming of a couple of engines for 2013, and on test today I'm going to be running, well hopefully running, these two Mamod Minors. At the back we have a 1953 Minor number 2. I'll just bring him to the forward for the moment. This one has run a couple of times and it normally runs perfectly fine. Very curious, this one, in many respects, in that it has the brass wheeled pattern. However, it's been cast in Mazat. When I first bought it I thought it had been painted silver, but it is actually in Mazat. It's a very rough casting. It sort of tends to wobble a little bit, but it seems to run reasonably okay. The rest of the engine, say it's flat base, 2-wick burner. I think it's had some drama over the years in terms of sort of painting or fiddling around with it in general. But it's a nice runner. It's a nice sort of iteration of the Minor to actually collect, and say it runs at a reasonable lick of speed. In front of it we have this little fella, which is the very earliest form of the Mamod Minor from 1939. Very simple little engine that was put on the market for 5 shillings. Simple flat base, there's no burner holder at all, small boiler, simple minute piston. There's no paint on the engine frame, they never did. It's very, very simply constructed. Tiny little single wick lamp, and say it was the introduction to a lot of young lads into steam engines by getting one of these, and it was a real sort of marketing coup really by Geoffrey Maylands. Obviously the twin cylinder version's a lot rarer, however that was a less successful affair, as we all know. Not many of them were actually sold because it was the production was curtailed by the onset of World War II. This particular one is in original play-worn condition. I've never steamed it since I purchased it from an auction house in Dartmouth a couple of years ago. The engine has had a new seal applied to the safety valve, and I've fitted some new wick to the single wick lamp. So I've checked everything else. The end cap seemed to be fine. The piston seems to be solid on its trunnion. Sometimes you get a tendency to work loose, and I'm hoping that say it will steam okay. I've never run it, so you never know what could happen. This particular one has just a blank metal disc crank with debossed Mamod Minor on it. Later ones were green, gold, and ultimately they were red, before it gained its Mazat flywheel in about 1953. This one almost looks as like it's the firebox has been put on the wrong way around, but I'll leave it as I found it. One curious thing is the underside of this is totally unpainted. Obviously it cuts down on production costs. Obviously the chimney is just a blank, but it makes the thing look a little bit complete. There's a small cleft in the actual rim of the funnel itself where it's been split, presumably when it's been flaring the edge of the when the individuals flared the edge of the funnel in order to give it that distinctive look. With no more ado, I'm going to sort of prepare. Drop the camera. Prepare these two now to make sure that they're well oiled, everything's tight, and we'll see how they actually perform. Just one last thing, you can see the difference in size between the Minor 1 and a Minor 2. A lot of people say, when they see pictures of things, is it a Minor 1 or is it a Minor 2? It's fairly obvious really. I mean, in terms of size, the Minor 2 uses an SE1 size boiler, and the Minor 2 obviously has a boiler size all of its own. So there we have it, two further flat base engines that I'm hoping to show you, to see how they actually run, and hopefully up next we'll see these two in action.